What's up, DC Nation? Welcome back to another video on Dark Knight's Death Metal. Now today we're checking out the new issue. It's a tie-in issue called Dark Knight's Death Metal Guidebook #1. Now in this issue we pretty much get a lot of our questions that we've had as DC fans pretty much answered. Well, that's what we're supposed to get, right? It's saying like the synopsis for this issue that we find out what happened to our heroes after Perpetua took over the world. When the Bound Last came with all of his evil Batman, we also are supposed to find out how Wonder Woman became the Queen of Hell, or how Batman found the Black Lantern ring, or who's been watching on the sidelines this entire time. And one more question for you: how did Harley Quinn take control of the Arkham Wastelands? So there's a lot of questions, and they're supposed to be answered in this issue. We'll find out if they actually do get answered. Now guys, if you could just dive in and read this issue, but if you read the end of Scott Snyder's Justice League run, Justice Do More, it'll help you out a little bit. You'll see what like pretty much Perpetua did before this. And then also if you read Dark Knight's Metal, all the original stuff, it'll actually get you caught up. But this is pretty much this issue. It's like a prelude to Death Metal, alright? Because it actually is like setting up everything, and we see how everything comes together. Now, the first story we have in this issue, yeah guys, the first story. There's actually 5 stories in this issue. There's one about the fall of Earth, so what happened to our heroes after Perpetua took over. We also have a Wonder Woman story. We also have like an Aquaman story, which that one's actually pretty interesting. We have a Harley Quinn story, and of course, a Batman story. So 5 stories, but the one we're going to dive into first is the one about the fall of Earth. And how this story starts out is this cloaked figure is monologuing, and this cloaked figure is saying, I want you to close your mind and imagine the world as you know it. Remember when a moment how it felt when you looked up at the bright sky, when you walked down a familiar alley, when you dreamed of a future fast approaching. And guys, as we're going through this monologue, we're seeing pictures like Metropolis, Crime Alley in Gotham City. We're seeing the Flash Museum. This monologue continues, and this person says, and then looked up at the stars and thought, I'll make it so. I want you to hold those memories in your mind, the ones that make you feel safe, that make you feel at home. Because those memories are all that remain of the world that was. So the world has changed, guys. The world has changed ever since Perpetua has arrived. Now, we continue, and this monologue continues saying that it's strange to think how much has changed in only a few short months. That all the comforts of home are now confined to dreams. And he says, who would have expected how quickly our world would descend into this horror? And he continues and says, who else but me? You see, it was an ordinary day at first, no different than the other. And he says, billions of people going about their lives with their mundane concerns, health, heartache, taxes. They scarcely noticed when the skies darkened and the storms began. Our world has always been an extraordinary one. Often it's easier to keep your head down in the face of a seeming apocalypse. After all, their heroes would surely save the day, wouldn't they? They had so many times before. So we just see that, like this person is saying that everything was going normal until something hits. And we see this person continue saying, of course, what they didn't know was that their greatest heroes were missing. And he says that the Justice League was in the midst of battling a cosmic goddess, the mother of the multiverse, Perpetua, and they were losing. And guys, this actually shows us at the end of the Justice League run in Justice League number 39. If you don't remember what happened at the end of the Justice League run, what we saw was that they got beat. Like, Perpetua took over. Pretty much everybody, all the humans in the world, chose the side of Doom. And that's when we saw Justice League go through this door to do one last battle against Perpetua to defeat her. And now we see how that turns out, alright? Spoiler alert, it doesn't go out so well. The Justice League do not win. If they won, they wouldn't be Dark Knight's Death Metal, right? But what we see is the Bound Last comes through like a portal into Earth with all these evil Batman. We see B-Rex, we see Darkfather, we see the Batmage, we see all these different ones. We see the evil Batman Beyond, we see these different ones like the evil Batman Dr. Arkham one. We see like the evil, like it's like a swamp type Batman, which I'll get to that one soon. But there's all these evil Batman just coming through this portal, right? And this person, this cloaked figure, continues to say that, and that is why no one was prepared when the sky opened up and became dark with Batman. They swarmed our world, but brought here from the dark multiverse the physical manifestations of the real Batman's deepest fears. And he says each of their twisted minds mirrored the intellect and drive for our world's Batman, with none of his moral fiber. They systematically lured these heroes into traps and eliminated them. And we see these heroes like Firestorm, Captain Atom, and they just get destroyed, and they're getting like killed by all these different evil Batman, and it continues. The West Coast fell first with the destruction of Captain Atom, courtesy of Dr. Arkham, the mad scientist the Batman Last have found among his doubles in the depths of the dark multiverse. And we see the Batmage was the next to strike. He decided to darken the doorstep of paradise itself, Themyscira, home of the Amazons. And we see the Justice League Dark try to guard the pretty much Themyscira, right? And we see, having watched America fall to the Batman, the greatest heroes in all magic band together with the Amazons to stop him. But with only a gesture, the Batmage ripped through the walls separating our world from the darkest depths of imagination. He unleashed all of hell on the heroes of magic, and in time they too fell. So Batmage took down the Justice League Dark. The Teen Titans and Titans gathered to head off the Apocalypse Batman known as Darkfather, who in his reality had taken down Darkseid, who become the Lord of Anti-Life. So guys, Darkfather, he is like really powerful. A Batman that took down Darkseid, like enough said, man. Like that just tells, like that description, like he's powerful. And it's you think the Teen Titans and Titans can defeat him? No, you're wrong. All right, I don't think you thought that. But if the heroes like the Teen Titans and Titans saw him, like, you know what, we'll take a chance at fighting him. I wouldn't. Like if I was Robin or any of them, I'd be like, deuces, I'm out of here. I'm not fighting off against a Batman who beat Darkseid. Like, come on. This guy's unstoppable. Well, obviously he isn't, because he got beat in Dark Knight's Death Metal number 3 a little too easily by Wonder Woman and Batman, but still. Here he's seen as very powerful, but we see that the Suicide Squad took to the oceans to try to stop the unspeakable creature known as Baphomet, which is an elder beast which on its own dark earth had been freed when Batman was drilling for resources in the deepest oceanic caves. We continue, we see, little did they know that something strange was underway in Gotham City. And what was happening in Gotham City was that Nightwing and Batgirl were trying to fight off against Castle Bat. And if you guys know Castle Bat, we actually had an origin story of Castle Bat and the other tie-in issue that I covered, which was Dark Knight's Death Metal, Legends of the Dark Knight. And in that issue, we had a story called This Man, This City. And we saw pretty much this alternate world where Bruce pretty much became Gotham City. He killed Damian Wayne, did this whole spiritual thing, and became Gotham City, and he's evil, right? He's teamed up with the Batman Last. And you guys want to check out that whole story, it's very interesting. You can check out the video that I did on it right here. But continuing, what we see is that next, that is when the Justice League returned to a world already in the grip of terror. They wore a failure on their faces. So Justice League returned when all this was going down, right? And Wonder Woman had used great strength to face Perpetua, but fell short in the battle. The others demanded to know what she had seen, yet all she remembered was fear and that blast of energy. But there was no time to pretty much talk about the past. The present was falling apart. They decided to split up, to face the chaos from each of their own home fronts. Now, that was a big mistake, alright? This is a big mistake because, you know, splitting up is never a good idea. But, and this is actually exactly what the Batman Last planned for. Now, what we saw next was they started picking these great heroes off in a matter of hours. And we saw these different Batman kill Martian Manhunter. Well, not kill him, but like take him down. And we see this like Yellow Lantern Bruce from the alternate world take down Green Lantern, John Stewart. And we see Hawkgirl get defeated by like a Batman that looks like he's combined with, like, he has like wings and stuff. He looks like Batman and Man-Bat combined. But still, we got also, well, we see Batman of our world had put together what was already obvious. They were losing this battle. So Batman knew that they were losing. He was like, yeah, we're losing. Like, there's no way we're gonna get out of this. And you see him running. He's like, their only hope would be to fight it together. They say that there were more than 20 Batman of the Dark Multiverse on his tail when the Batman from our world finally made the call to retreat from Gotham. So Batman left Gotham, guys. And this could just be, like, dismissed. Like, you could be reading this and be like, oh, whatever. But that's actually a big deal. Batman loves Gotham. He's always trying to protect it, and that's the place where his parents died. And he swore an oath to never let anybody else go through like the same thing that he went to pretty much put like a war on crime and take down every villain in Gotham City, protect it. But what happens here? Everything was going so bad that he retreated. He left the one city that he swore to protect. So that's a big deal, guys. What we see next is Flash that saves Batman, pulls him away. Batman gets saved. They start running, and this person, the cloaked figure, continues telling the story. He says the Flash of Batman called for help. They sought to rally the forces together and make a final stand. But they didn't realize the final battle was already underway, and the fall of Superman at the hands of Darkfather was the last gasp of open rebellion. So Superman got defeated by Darkfather, and we know what happened to him. You can actually find out what happened to him in Death Metal number 3. But we see Darkfather, he has all his evil Robins, like his pretty much para-Robins, and they defeated Superman. And we see that this was a devastating blow to the morale of everyone still resisting on Earth. And he's like, the battle between Perpetua and Wonder Woman had burned out the sun, but the battle who last had a plan for that. And you see that Superman is the one that's running the sun now. They pretty much used Superman to fire up the sun. After the fall of Superman, Aquaman surrendered when he realized that Baphomet would kill all of Atlantis if he did not kneel. And then Wonder Woman did the same for Amazon. So Wonder Woman surrendered to Batmage, and what we saw was that all told, it took about a week for the world to fall under the control of the Batman who laughs. And you see the Batman who laughs just laughing with all his Robins around him, and the story continues, and this cloaked figure says he took the throne of his new world, and with the power of the dark multiverse and Perpetua as beck and call, he changed the very fabric of reality. Continents twisted and rearranged by his dark design, remaking our world in his dark image. And guys, what's cool about this is it forms a pretty much bat signal. So now the Earth has like a bat signal, which that's not a bad thing. Like the Batman Last does some bad stuff, but making the Earth have like a bat signal, I think that's the best thing and the most coolest thing he's done, and I approve it. Like honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I approve something that the Batman Who Laughs is doing. Alright? Like, it's kind of, I don't see that as a problem. Like, okay, you rearranged the continents. Whatever. Like, that's fine. You made a bat signal. That's dope. Now, defeating the whole Justice League, causing all this terror, no, I don't support you on that, Batman Who Laughs. Now, continuing, what we see is this cloaked figure almost finishes off his story, right? He says, humanity was rounded up, and those who had sided with Perpetua and evil were turned into a monstrous army. Those who chose their fallen heroes, they were placed on a crisis antenna that would reveal Perpetua as she destroyed universe after universe. And we continue, all surviving heroes were hunted down and imprisoned inside New Apocalypse. Their only escape would send them hurtling into the heart of the new artificial sun powered by Superman. And then we see the villains were not spared any horror. They were cast down into the depths of a new hell built from the ashes of Themyscira, with Wonder Woman as their warden. This is what is left on Earth, a nightmare. And we see, guys, that pretty much everything comes together. Wonder Woman is the queen of hell. She actually is guarding all the villains. We have Aquaman, he has Atlantis, but he's pretty much working for Baphomet. We got Harley Quinn. She actually she's taking control of the whole Arkham Wastelands. We got everything not going so well, right? All the heroes are on New Apocalypse, they're in prison, while Superman is charging up the sun. And Darkfather is trying to change him into like a dark side. So a lot of stuff's not going well, but at least we know as the reader everything that's led to this point and into Death Metal. Now how this story ends is we see that this cloaked figure is actually Lex Luthor. And he says, I finally see what my actions have done. And we see the Batman show up, like Batmage, the evil Batman Beyond, B-Rex, and they're like, to be fair, this moment, it's been a long time coming if you ask me. And Lex Luthor is like, I freed Perpetua from her cell. I unleashed her power upon this world. And the evil Batman are like, fine then, what are you going to do about it? Just keep on writing your little book. And Lex Luthor leaves through a portal, and he ends up on the moon. And he's like, this book isn't what you think. It contains what is, but also what has been forgotten. And its heart lies the very truth Wonder Woman cannot remember, the one that may destroy her. And we see Lobo on the moon with Lex Luthor, so that's bringing together their whole partnership in Death Metal. Now we see Lobo, he's like, this ain't my world, and I don't particularly care what happens to it, but for what you're paying me, I'll play along. And Lex Luthor's like, all I expect of you, Lobo, is that you find the last pieces of Death Metal before the Bound Last finds us. The Hall of Doom can only keep us hidden so long, and I must focus on gathering my own forces. And Lobo's like, and what forces are those, Chief? And that's what Lex Luthor says, the Legion of Doom. So guys, Lex Luthor is getting the Legion of Doom back, even though he pretty much led them to like pretty much being controlled by Perpetua. Like, I'm thinking they're gonna be pretty mad at him when he recruits them again. But still, Lex Luthor, he's scarred, he's not doing well, he's just watching all this unfold and can't really do anything about it, but he's still gonna try to do something, right? He's sending Lobo out to get some Death Metal, he's trying to get Legion of Doom back, and we'll see his whole journey continue in the Justice League comic. And guys, if you know me, I've actually been reviewing the Justice League title on this channel, and I have been a big fan of it because it's been a lot of filler. But with this pretty much a confirmation, we're going to be having a whole death metal Titan story starting in issue number 53 with Lex Luthor, Nightwing, all of the Titans, all these different heroes, and I'm pretty excited. Now, that's pretty much the Fall of Earth storyline. It pretty much gave us all our answers. But now we got 4 more short stories that tell, like, pretty much show more of Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Batman, and of course, Harley Quinn. Now, the next one we're going to go into is actually Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is in the Arkham Wastelands, and she's like, Harley to Dr. Arkham, come in, Doc. And she can't really get pretty much contact to Dr. Arkham. And she's like, Tracker found something, but it ain't our missing Suicide Squad. She's looking for the missing Suicide Squad. And she's like, hey, little buddy. And she finds this little hyena, guys. This little hyena. It's actually pretty cute. But she says to it, she's like, I take you with me, but this is kind of one of those humanitarian things, not scrawny puppy thing. So she leaves the hyena, but pretty much all around her, these Suicide Squad members jump out and try to kill her. They're pretty much yoked, guys. They start attacking her, but she has like this big bat, starts swinging it. She's like, I ain't dying in the desert, being ganged up on by some mutants. And we see her get attacked by these, but she keeps attacking. She tries her best, hitting back and forth. And she's like, I gotta get back to pretty much Ivy, because she's actually helping out with, she's trying to like save Poison Ivy, because Poison Ivy is actually where Wonder Woman is. She's actually one of the villains that is just locked up. But Harley Quinn is like, I found Tiger King, I found these different Suicide Squad members, but they're pretty much mutants now. But that's when we see Boomerang. We see Captain Boomerang come out of the shadows, right? Well, not out of the shadows, he's in broad daylight, but he shows up, and Harley's like, Boomerang, thank God. Oh man, you look crazy swole. Oh my God. Time for Harley to level up too. And that's when we see Harley, and the radiation in the Arkham Wastelands is gained her. So the reason for her suit, guys, is this suit causes her not to get radiation poisoning. So if she gets radiation poisoning, she'll become like a mutant, just like these Suicide Squad members, just like Captain Boomerang. Boomerang starts walking toward her and actually throws like a boomerang, and it hits her straight in the face, guys. Boomerang keeps running toward her, tries to kill her, and Harley's like, yes, losing is part of the whole looking really cool deal. Come on, Booms, don't tell me you're just some mindless mutant. And Boomerang just jumps, is about to kill her, but that's when we see this big hyena. The little puppy is now been turned into a big hyena because of the whole radiation. He just eats Boomerang alive, pretty much kills him, and that's when Harley's like, oh my God, little puppers, you're majestic. She's actually really surprised. And she then rides off with this hyena. She pretty much has a hyena at her side now, and she says, shame about Boomerang, but life is for the living. Yeah, I'm gonna name you George. And that's how this story ends. Now, the story was pretty good, but heading into the next story, we have Aquaman, guys. We have Aquaman, and it's in the 7 seas. And Aquaman is looking for this creature called the Umebozo. And so rare a creature, even monsters thought it was a myth. Yet here it rises before us, tempted from the depths of our fleet of ships, hungry for the souls of our crew. So what Aquaman is doing here is he's trying to save some submariners from this creature, because this creature just steals souls from different humans, right? But we see Aquaman, he's like, my apologies, friend, but you will have no offering today. He's like, it was said that your kind were no more, that you never existed in the first place. But I sought you out just the same, and I asked you to join our fight. And that's when this creature pretty much in a way says no, because Aquaman, what he's trying to do, he's like, it doesn't respond. It's unclear if it even understands, or if it's even alive. And he says, no matter, it is born of the sea and will obey. And he's like, I've heard it called a spirit, a demon, and a ghost. Whatever it is, it's frightening indeed. Its mouth moves and churns the waters, but neither speaks nor attacks. Why? So this creature is not responding to his offer. And he continues to say, there's only one way to get to the bottom of this, and that is down. He travels down into the deep, and he then says, it doesn't stray from these waters. Something must anchor it to this place. An ancient spell, a talisman, or a curse. And we see this person, or the skeleton, at the bottom of the ocean, guys, and it's pretty much trapped to like this wood, right? If Aquaman pretty much gets this skeleton to accept the offer, he actually may have this creature at his disposal to fight off against the Batman. And what we see is Aquaman is going up to it, but that's when the Batman shows up. He's like, do you really think this mindless abomination will aid you, Aquaman? He's like, how did you? And Batman says, after all the other creatures you killed, you carry death with you, so I follow the smell. Have you forgotten our deal? And that's when Aquaman's like, there's never a deal, and I cannot stand by any longer. I defy you, Baphomet. And that's what Baphomet says, ha. He just starts laughing, and he starts to pretty much strangling Aquaman with his tentacles, right? Baphomet says, destroy it or I boil the seas and the life within. And that's when he pretty much destroys this whole skeleton, therefore destroying the creature. And that's when Baphomet's like, good, I release thee. Go, my servant. And we see the creature get destroyed, just fall into the sea, and Aquaman's helpless. He thought he had a way out. He thought he had a way to beat Baphomet. But all that happened was he was just stuck, and he destroyed a creature that didn't mean no harm. So that's how that story ends. And it's pretty messed up, guys. Like, you can't, like, blame Aquaman. He's trying to get this creature and all these different creatures in the sea to get on his side so he could claim back Atlantis. Right now, he's just a servant and he can't really control anything. But what we see next in the fourth story, we see in pretty much the hellscape, where Wonder Woman has all these villains in like, these jail cells. We see Swamp Thing, and we see Poison Ivy inside. Now what happens is she tries to get out. She gets out of her cell and she starts running. She wants to get out of the cell and sees like plant life, right? She can't bear just being in this jail cell any longer. Now she starts running and we see the warden of this place, Wonder Woman. And she's like, turn back now, Ivy, before it's too late. And Poison Ivy's like, never. And Wonder Woman's like, I warned you. And she jumps, takes her down. Poison Ivy's like, I'd rather die than go to that cursed hole. You've entombed us all in. And we see Wonder Woman, she's like, you cannot go to the surface, Ivy. It's for your own good. If you do not believe me, take the lasso. Let it show you the truth. And Poison Ivy's like, the only truth a jailer knows is the cold darkness of the cage. She's like, when I said to die, I would also happily take you with me, Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman's like, I'm sorry for what comes next, Ivy. Truly, I am. And we see Wonder Woman try to catch Ivy, but Ivy gets away, actually. She keeps running, and Wonder Woman's like, I'm so sorry. And Poison Ivy makes it out, and she's just horrified. She's like, what have you done? And Wonder Woman's like, I know, sister, I know. And pretty much the whole land in the earth is just wasteland. There's no plant life. So Poison Ivy, the thing that she clings to so much, is gone. So she goes back in the jail cell, and she's like, how you come to say I told you so, Wonder Woman? And Wonder Woman's like, I know the devastation in your heart, Ivy. I am truly sorry. But as irreparable as things seem, we have found small grains of hope. We will take back our world. And Poison Ivy says, how can you know? And Wonder Woman comes with a plant in her hand. And she's like, I seal my vow to you with this, a small bit of green in need of a loving caretaker. And Poison Ivy says, look at you, so delicate but so strong and so beautiful, like a promise. And Poison Ivy sees this as a way to get back plant life in Earth. And that's how this story ends. Going into our final story in this issue, we got Batman, guys. And this story is supposed to tell us how he got the Black Lantern ring. Now, what we start out with is we see Batman, right? And he's walking along, and he then comes upon Jonah Hex. Batman's like, you remember me? And Jonah Hex is like, should I? And Batman's like, depends on where in the multiverse you were resurrected. And Jonah Hex is like, and that's why I shouldn't pull the trigger. And Batman's like, there's a better reason. And Jonah Hex is like, which is? And Batman's like, your gun's empty. And Jonah Hex is like, my axe is sharp. And Batman's like, wasting time, Hex. We have more important work to do. And Jonah Hex is like, so we just forget about him? And that's when we see this dragon, this whole Joker dragon, show up and it's going to eat them. And they just start running. Batman's like, Gotham citizens have been imprisoned. The Joker dragon does not matter. We need to get to the Crypt of Heroes, which is where the Just Society are, where it's pretty much like a safe haven, right? And Jonah Hex is like, again, with the we. Why me? And Batman's like, I have my reasons. And Jonah Hex is like, make me a list. And that's when they keep running. The dragon is trying to burn them alive. And Jonah Hex is like, you use that ring to raise a small army from the dead. Now they're just what? Dragon food? And Batman's like, Hex, there's no time for this. And Jonah Hex is like, where'd you go, Ears? Wait, it's that thing, ain't it? The ring talking to you. What's the story? And Batman's like, here's the story, Hex. And he brings out like a white bullet. And he says that we can save the multiverse. Pick one. And Jonah Hex is like, one, as in one bullet? That's gonna be enough to kill it? And Batman's like, it's not for the dragon. And Jonah Hex is like, so what's it for? And Batman's like, you'll know when the time comes. And you see him keep running over these like rooftops as this dragon, this Joker dragon, chases them. And Jonah Hex is like, yeah, see, that's the problem with you guys. And Batman's like, you guys? And Jonah Hex is like, good guys who dress up like bad guys, who personified evil to achieve good. That ring's got your priorities screwed. Got your resurrection heroes while forgetting to be one. And Batman's like, that's it, huh? Got me all figured out? Empty gun, one bullet, a white one. Not for the dragon, not for the bound who laughs, but for the light cloaked in darkness. And Joe Heck says, in case you lose the argument you're having with that ring, here, let's just get it off. And Bound's like, the bullet is made from White Lantern energy. It's only fitting. He's like, I was born in the alley where a bullet took my father from me. And Joe Heck's like, my dad was a violent drunk who sold me into slavery. Shake a stick at that. And Joe Heck's like, alright, maybe safeguarding Sandy is safeguarding the multiverse, but, and Bound's like, yes, Hex, you win. The dragon first. And Joe Heck's like, so, here's my guess. I bet that ring could destroy the dragon and fly you to the hero's crypt, but chances are, the more you use that thing, the more it owns you. And Bound's like, wasting time, Hex, why are you fixating on this dragon? And Joe Heck's like, you raised the dead to save the living. They deserve better than just be dragon food. It's why you chose me. And Joe Heck's like, I was raised to respect things. I respect all things, even if it's like a violent creature. And Bound says, move away now. And Joe Heck's like, already dead, Bats. What's it gonna do? Kill me twice? Alright. The flashbang grenade, I understand. But milk? And that's what Bound's like, cryptochrome. Crypt is a glass of protein that's sensitive to blue light, and he hits at the dragon, uses this helicopter show up, and Bound's like, it's how birds see and navigate Earth's magnetic fields. He's like, enzymes in the milk momentarily blunt the creature's navigation. He's like, yes, Jonah, it's why I chose you, not an argument of Val. And that's when Bound says, the blackest night falls from the sky, the darkness grows as all light dies. And John Heck's like, I once met a man from Nantucket, just bad poetry ears. Don't hum the tune. And John Heck's like, the Apache brave deals with darkness and light, living the philosophy of the earth within the confines of man. And Bound's like, and that's why I chose you. Joe Heck's like, you chose me because I'm an ass. No kick, no BS. And Bound's like, well then, let's ride. And Joe Heck's like, not yet, we need one more thing. And Joe Heck says, Apache tradition honors the animal for the gift of its life. Giddy up, ears. So that's how this issue ends. Now, this is a little confusing, guys. The Batman story. The reason this story is confusing is because, like, it explains, like, it doesn't really explain how Batman got that Black Lantern ring at all. We still haven't figured that out, and then we found out about this white bullet, which is used to pretty much take down this dragon, and we're seeing, like, Batman get controlled by this Black Lantern ring. He's pretty much getting owned by it. The more you have the Black Lantern ring, the more he becomes undead. So Batman's trying to control that, and Joe Hex has just been raised from the undead by Batman to come back to help him out, and that's it. But their whole goal is to get to the Crypt of Heroes. They don't get to the Crypt of Heroes at the end of this issue, but they're getting really close, and that leads into issue number 1 of Death Metal. Actually, no, issue number 2 of Death Metal. So that shows where they've been at, but I wish we got to, like, an explanation of where Batman got that Black Lantern ring. We still don't know, which I think is kind of a problem. Like, come on. Like, it says in the synopsis we'll find that out. Like, that's the only question that we kind of missed. We found out how, actually, yeah, we found out how Wonder Woman became, like, the Queen of Hell. We found out about Aquaman. We found out about Harley Quinn. We found out about all the, like, what happened to the heroes when they went to fight off against Perpetual one last time. But we didn't find out how Batman got that Black Lantern ring. Now, all these stories I think are really good. I think The Fall of Earth is the best one. Because, yes, it does recap a lot, but it shows a lot of new stuff, too, which I really like. And I say that one's way better than compared to, like, the Darkest Night storyline and Dark Knight's Death Metal, Legends of the Dark Knight. That whole story with the Darkest Night was a lot of recap that we already seen. Where in this issue, The Fall of Earth is a lot of recap, but stuff we haven't seen before. Maybe like the first 2 pages is stuff we've seen before, but the other 14 pages is a lot of new stuff, like Baphomet. All these heroes fight out against these evil Batman. Like, it's a lot of cool stuff. And I really like that story. Now, the Harley one is very short and sweet. That was good. The Wonder Woman one, it was very quick, but it really hit the emotional moments with Poison Ivy, so I really like that. And the other story with Batman, that one, which ended it off, I think that was good. That was a pretty good one. It's just a little confusing. The writing could have been a little better there, right? I think it could have. But still, I'm very intrigued about the Batman. I hope we get, like, an explanation on how he got the Black Lantern ring eventually. Aquaman one. For some reason, I just really like that one, because Baphomet is an awesome character. The Aquaman one, with him trying to seize back Atlantis, but he's pretty much like a servant. I just really like it, and the art was very interesting in that story. But yeah, guys, overall, it's a great issue. I think it's, like, pretty much you have to read it if you want to know everything in Death Metal. Like, this isn't really a tie-in issue. Like, honestly, this should have just been labeled as a prelude. Death Metal Prelude. Because it tells everything right before Death Metal. I don't know why they're pretty much showing us this now. They should just show this right before Death Metal came out, and then we'd been like very intrigued, and then we would have read like Death Metal and would have been as confusing, right? But I'm still happy they released it. They could easily just like pretty much put this in separate issues along the line, but no, they got one big issue for us, this guidebook, and it does guide us to all the answers we want, except for the Batman Black Lantern ring. But yeah, guys, overall, I'm gonna give this issue a 9 out of 10. I think it's a great issue, great art, great writing, and it tells a lot of the answers we've been looking for. But guys, in the comment section below, tell me about this issue. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite story? But guys, also tell me, do you have any other questions that you think weren't answered in this whole book? Mine is obviously the Batman Black Lantern ring, but is there any other stuff that you think should still be answered? And are you excited for the next installment of Death Metal? It won't be Death Metal number 4. We actually got like Speed Metal next. We got Multiverse's End. We got Trinity Crisis. We got those 3 issues, which I'm very excited for. I will be covering on this channel. But yeah, guys, if you like the video, give a big thumbs up. You show me subscribe to my next Death Metal video. This one was really long, mainly just because there's so much content in this one book. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and peace out.